If you end up liking this video and finding it helpful, then give it a thumbs up and leave your comments below about what your experiences are of using this video. And also, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the bell button near the subscribe button so that you can be kept informed when future videos like this go live. Close your eyes as I tell you a story about the puppy who wanted to play. So with your eyes closed, you can listen to me reading this story. And while I read this story, you can begin to feel relaxed. And as I read, you can imagine this story and begin to drift off to sleep. As you drift off asleep, you can continue this story in a dream. And my reading will help you feel sleepy. It will help you feel tired, and it will help you fall asleep. Patches was a small black puppy with white markings, who just wanted to play. He woke up this morning already playful. Play with me, Patches said excitedly as he ran into his owner's bedroom. Liz, Patches' owner, was still trying to sleep. Let me sleep, she said to Patches. But Patches didn't want to let Liz sleep. He wanted to play. Liz pulled the duvet cover over her head. Go away, Patches, I'm sleeping. Patches left Liz's room and went to see Allie, Liz's daughter. Play with me, Patches said to Allie, jumping up and down on her bed. No, Patches, let me sleep, Allie said. Patches was sad. Why does no one want to play with me? He went downstairs. He really badly wanted to find someone to play with. He went over to Tiddles the cat. Tiddles, will you play with me? Tiddles was resting, sleeping on a small and comfy cat bed by the radiator. No, Patches, I want to sleep. Find someone else to play with. Patches still couldn't find anyone to play with him. He thought maybe he could ask Gary the parrot. So he did. Gary, will you play with me? Gary agreed to play one round of hide and seek. You go and hide, I'll count from 10 down to 1, and then I'll try and find you, Gary said. Patches got excited. Finally, someone to play with him. Patches ran off to hide as Gary started counting. 10, 9, 8, Gary counted. Where to hide, Patches asked himself as he ran around the living room, trying to find somewhere to hide. 7, 6, 5. Patches could hear Gary counting down. He knew he didn't have much time. He tried hiding behind the curtains, but his feet poked out the bottom. He tried hiding behind a plant pot, but he was too big. He tried hiding under a chair, but he could easily be seen there. 4, 3, 2. Patches knew that Gary had nearly finished counting, so he had to quickly choose somewhere to hide. 1. Ready or not, I'm coming. Patches had found a place to hide just in time. Gary began searching for Patches. Being a parrot, he thought he could fly around the room and have a bird's eye view, and maybe that way he would spot Patches. Are you behind the curtain? Gary said. as he checked behind the curtain. Patches wasn't there. "Are you under the table?" Gary said as he checked under the table. Patches wasn't there. Gary flew around the room, wondering where to look next. "Are you behind the plant pot?" Gary said as he checked behind the plant pot. Patches wasn't there either. Gary didn't know where to look next. Where could Patches be hiding? Gary said to himself. Patches tried not to laugh as he heard Gary searching for him. "Are you behind the door?" Gary said as he checked behind the door. Still no Patches. Gary thought he had looked everywhere in the living room. He really didn't know where else he could check. Patches thought to himself, what a good hiding place he had found, to be able to stay hidden from Gary for so long. He had wanted someone to play with, and now he was playing. Patches was having such fun. After checking many other places and not finding Patches, Gary checked inside the footstool, and there was Patches. "Found you, Patches," Gary said. "Now I'm going back to rest. I'm tired and sleepy." Patches was having so much fun, he didn't want to rest. He just wanted to play. "Gary, please keep playing with me," Patches begged. But Gary said no. He wanted to go to sleep now. Patches had to go and find someone else to play with. He thought to himself, who else could he ask? Patches went back to Tiddles the cat. "Will you play with me now?" Tiddles just shrugged and curled up into a ball. "No, I'm still sleeping." Patches went to ask Liz, "Will you play with me now?" Liz just tucked herself up even tighter in bed. "No, I'm still sleeping." Why does everyone just want to sleep all the time? Thought Patches as he went to see Allie. Maybe she was awake now. Patches opened Allie's bedroom door. "Will you play with me now?" he asked. "No, I'm trying to sleep. Why don't you find fun things to do by yourself for a while?" "Like what?" said Patches curiously. "Have you thought of painting, or drawing a picture, or using the sticks in the garden and making jumps to see how high you can jump over, or making a running track in the garden and seeing how fast you can run around the track, or building a den in the garden?" Patches hadn't thought about any of these ideas. He was really excited by them. They all sounded so much fun. He couldn't wait to try all of these ideas out. Patches went out into the garden. He started by getting some paints and painting a picture of his paws. This turned out to be very messy. Patches had to use old newspapers to make his paws clean again, so that he didn't make a mess back in the house. He then made a running track in the garden. He timed himself running around the track to see how fast he was. Then he ran the track over and over again, trying to run faster than he'd ever run before. Patches did this for a while, but eventually it got very exhausting. He was beginning to feel sleepy and tired. Patches decided that because he was feeling sleepy, he should build a den in the garden to sleep in. Patches gathered up lots of wood from the garden and went inside the house to get some old sheets from one of Liz's cupboards. He then went out to the end of the garden to build his den. His den had a wooden frame made from sticks that were in the garden, leaning against a tree. They were then tied to the tree at the top, a bit like a teepee tent. Patches had then put blue sheets around the outside, with a space left at the front to walk in and out of the den. He put a picnic sheet on the ground inside the tent, and got all of his cushions from the living room and put these on top of the sheet. Patch's den was nice and comfortable and cool. He sat there, noticing how the sun was rising higher in the sky, how it was getting hot in the garden while he stayed cool in his den. When Ali came downstairs and outside to see what Patches had been doing, she was really impressed with his den. She asked if she could play with him in his den. Patches said she could, but that he wanted to snuggle up in his den and have a little sleep first. He was tired from all the hard work. He told Ali he would play with her when he woke up. Then he closed his eyes, gave a big yawn, and fell comfortably and fast asleep.